sort out my life so that I can do more Ruby. So.
Are you having an okay time hearing me now?
To be honest, I really didn't know a lot about the Ruby community when I first started. I guess this is probably back in 2007, 2008. I had pretty much reached my limit with Perl. I didn't think it was a language fit for humans anymore. And to be perfectly honest, I was pretty much flipping a coin between Ruby and Python at the time. At the time, I was living in Austin, Texas, where there's a very vibrant Ruby development team. And I went to Lone Star RubyConf. And it was at that time that I was exposed to some of the ideas that really underlie the Ruby community and some of the ideas that really underlie Ruby as a language. And then somebody showed me method missing in Ruby, and I just thought that was the bee's knees. And thus began my long and sordid affair with Ruby's metaprogrammatic capabilities and my desire to research it more and more. So that's kind of how I got hooked into Ruby. I'd like to say I came in for a reasonable and intelligible fourth generation language, but somehow I kept finding more things to enjoy about the language and about the community that surrounds it. So now, I mean, almost, I can't believe it, but near a decade later, I'm just still a huge fan of the language. I use it every day, and it always finds new ways to teach me new ways of thinking about things. I think Ruby is a really flexible medium if you consider what Paul Graham wrote about the development of oil painting. It was a very flexible and expressive medium. And so it would allow you to try things and to back things out and then to try a different path, a different vector entirely, and explore that. And so I think what Ruby has always been for me has been a really interesting and syntactically friendly place to explore ideas ranging from linguistics to size preference association in retail. So it's such a wonderful language that I think Matt's said that it's the 80% language, and I really find that to be true. In 80% of the situations, Ruby turns out to be a very good medium wherewith to attack your problem. So I think that's what I like about it, is that it rarely lets you down, and when it does, it quietly says, I'm not the right tool for this. So I really enjoy that Ruby knows what it's good at, and it's good at 80% of the cases. Well, 2 years ago, I gave a presentation at RubyConf which extolled the virtues of Ruby's metaprogrammatic functions. And while I still hold that opinion, in 2 years, that opinion's moved on. It's changed a little bit. And I feel like some of the nuances and some of the bumpy spots in the road that I traveled in my path would serve to be a bit of illumination to others traveling that path in their road to understanding Ruby. I don't think I had all the information at the time I was trying to talk about it, and I feel like I've had some discoveries along the way that I really want to share. That they would feel more empowered to judge the merits of Ruby's metaprogramming capabilities. Is that a lot of times if you ask somebody, if you ask a senior voice about Ruby, and you say, oh, should I use method missing here, or should I shove something into the singleton class, they'll kind of get that panicked look in their eye and tell you no. And for me, and I think for most people of a technical persuasion, just a scared heartbeat of no is not a sufficient answer. I want to know, well, what would you recommend in place of that? Or how can I accomplish the same level of power without compromising on clarity? And I think that's the question that I'm not quite sure is always well answered within the Ruby community. And I hope at this year's RubyConf I give a solid offering about how to know when you want to use those techniques and know what might be a better option for you. Regrettably, one that I really wanted to go to myself is scheduled against my own slot, so I limit to say that I won't be able to go. But I think there's one about automating with Ruby, using embedded Ruby to or using Ruby everywhere to automate your home life. I feel like I would like to have Ruby helping me sort out my life so that I can do more Ruby. So I really would like to see talks like that. I'm always interested in the hallway conference. I love the people who are there. You know, I've seen so many interesting things just get demonstrated by people at lunch, from drone work to floating dirigibles and things of that nature. So I really go to RubyConf for the for the people that I'm going to meet just serendipitously over and over again. But I'm also very interested in some of the sessions that are going to be touching on concurrency. I feel like concurrency and big data are probably problems that are going to be with us pretty heavily within the next 3 to 5 years, possibly 10. So I'm always interested to hear what people who are in that space are thinking, and I always like to try to take a little bit of that wisdom back with me. So I hope to find some sessions around concurrency and queue processing. I'm particularly interested in those right about now.
Well, thank you so much for your time, especially at short notice. And yeah, I will see you in Miami.
Best luck, and see you in sunny Miami.